the evening, Maharaj returned to the Secretaria de Estado de la Cultura to give the closing talk of the 22nd International Human Unity Conference, entitled Inner and Outer Peace Through Meditation.
We all breathe.
Todos nosotros respiramos
to live.
para vivir,
But we do not see the air with our eyes.
pero no vemos el aire con los ojos.
We know that we take oxygen out of the air
Sabemos que sacamos el oxígeno del
because we
aire,
need the oxygen to survive.
lo utilizamos para supervivir,
But where is the oxygen? We never see it.
pero ¿dónde está el oxígeno que no lo vemos?
But it is always there so that we can live.
Pero existe allí para que podamos vivir.
Similarly, God is always there with each and every one of us.
Similarmente, Dios existe dentro de nosotros para cada uno de nosotros.
It's unfortunate that we don't see or experience God
Infortunadamente no lo experimentamos ni lo vemos,
because our attention is on the world outside.
porque nuestra atención está en el mundo externo.
God is not on the world outside. God is within each and every one of us.
Dios no vive en el mundo externo, Dios vive dentro de cada uno de nosotros.
As we invert, then we can reach God.
Cuando nos invertimos podemos alcanzar a Dios.
You know, it is a birthright to know God.
Es nuestro derecho hereditario conocer a Dios.
We are all children of God.
Todos somos hijos de Dios.
When Maharaji returned to the hotel, he met with the local satsangis and those visiting from other countries for a question and answer session. He also distributed prasad to everyone present. On Wednesday, May 18th, Maharajji and his family left for Chicago, Illinois. At the airport in Santo Domingo, the spiritual leader's charisma radiated to many people. Airport workers and travelers began to come up to Maharajji and ask for his blessings. One observer exclaimed, "I have never seen anything like this before. Look how everyone is flocking to the Master." Another person commented, "This is a very sweet and appropriate way to close a great moment in history."
All of us have a common purpose in life.
Alle von uns haben das gleiche Ziel im Leben.
That is to truly know ourselves and merge our true self in God.
Und das Ziel ist, dass wir uns wahrhaft erkennen und eins mit Gott werden.
Who is the source of all peace and tranquility.
Gott, der die Quelle allen Friedens ist und aller Glückseligkeit und Ruhe.
And if we would merge back in God, we would find the peace for ourselves forever.
Und wenn wir uns mit Gott vereinen würden, dann würden wir in uns den Frieden für immer finden.
Any opportunity that we have of being together is an opportunity where our attention is being focused on the divine. If we give up hope, then our life becomes a disaster. I think we need to do the best that we can in whatever circumstance we are in. And then pray to God and say, okay, I've done my best, whatever result comes is your will. That's what sweet is thy will is all about. Every day we get up in the morning and we find that we get involved in many activities. And what is truly important is missed by us. We don't spend any time in that direction. And so when we are together, when we are focused on the divine, and that's a time for us to truly understand what is important and then fit that into our day-to-day activities. Because spirituality is not what impacts us for an hour or two daily. Spirituality is what impacts us as we lead a life from moment to moment.
Veggie Fest, a large family celebration sharing the vegetarian way of life with thousands of people, was held at the Science and Spirituality Center in Naperville, Illinois on Saturday, August 27, 2005. There were booths run by community organizations that helped share information about the vegetarian way of life. Organic vegetarian produce could be sampled and purchased from local vendors. There were many fun activities for the kids.
My daughter is enjoying painting and she got a face paint also, and they are enjoying the organic vegetables and this fruits, strawberries especially, and they are really sweet and I like them. I also tried. Like, we can teach our children that they can grow healthy by eating vegetable. They don't have to go for non-veg food to be healthy.
Throughout the day, the food tent was filled with people enjoying healthy, delicious vegetarian foods. afternoon, presentations were given to help people learn about the physical and spiritual benefits of the vegetarian way of life. Linda Scotti, an RN, gave a wonderful talk on fitness, well-being, and vegetarianism.
And vegetarianism protects you against heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, the adult onset type 2 diabetes, which is prevalent, really prevalent nowadays. And that is totally preventative through diet and exercise. And vegetarianism also protects you against certain cancers. And these are we call the diet-related cancers. Breast cancer is one of them. Prostate cancer. There's a recent article by Dr. Dean Ornish that just came out about how helpful the vegetarian diet is in his study. It slows the progression of prostate cancer.
In the Science of Spirituality Sanctuary, Dr. Tim Fior spoke on the topic, Vegetarian Diet and Cancer. He cited studies from the medical literature that showed how the vegetarian diet can help in the prevention and treatment of cancer. Dr. Matthew Rader then spoke on the vegetarian diet and heart disease.
The Cornell School of Nutritional Science researchers went to rural China and examined the rural Chinese diet. They found that people living in rural China had 1/10 the intake of animal protein. They had 3 times the fiber and 1/2 the total fat. The average American's cholesterol in this study was 203. In rural China, it is 127. And here's the punchline, that American men had 17 times the incidence of heart disease as rural Chinese men, and women it was 6 times. So dramatic difference just by diet. And Dr. Dean Ornish from California Pacific Medical Center largely did the same thing. Tim showed you the diet. It was 10% fat and completely vegetarian. And he took people, all of whom had severe blockages. And the vegetarian diet shrunk these blockages. That's incredible. People have all this, their arteries all filled up with gunk. And you can think of Dr. Dean Ornish as recommending a diet which is like calling your plumber. So he reduced the blockages in 5 years by 8%, which maybe isn't a lot, but it is something. And those people who were not on the vegetarian diet, their blockages increased by 28%, and as Tim mentioned, many of them had heart attacks.
Aaron Stevens, president and founder of Nature's Path, spoke on the organic journey.
I was fortunate to be born on a beautiful farm on Vancouver Island, and had a very loving family. And my father, who had started out as a conventional farmer, switched over to a sustainable method of farming without chemicals. And he was one of the real pioneers of organic farming. So what's it all about is that the care of the earth is our most ancient and most worthy, and after all, our most pleasing responsibility. To cherish what remains of it and to foster its renewal is our only hope. So good health, like good soil, is a great asset. We need to protect it through wise choices and activities. You know, all of the life on this planet is dependent upon what averages out to be about 1 foot, 12 inches of topsoil. And through mismanagement of topsoil, nations have gone into starvation and gone into want. So I feel that a wholesome vegetarian diet, regular exercise, positive thinking, and most important, meditation. That's one thing that in my discussions with Dr. Dean Ornish, whom Matthew Rader talked about in his talk, he emphasizes the importance of meditation along with adopting this very beneficial vegetarian diet.
The highlight of the event featured Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj, whose talk entitled Spiritual Aspects of the Vegetarian Diet described how what we eat affects us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
As we lead a life in which the human body is nourished by those foods which keep us stable, then our chances of recognizing who we are, which we call self-realization, our chances of connecting with God, which we will called God realization are possible. And so today, as we all gather here, and I know many of you are here for the Veggie Fest and the festivities, I pray to God that you look at not only the physical benefits of a vegetarian diet, but that you realize that when we lead a vegetarian way of life, there are the chances of us being able to connect with our true self are enhanced tremendously, and that we then will be able to fulfill the very purpose for which we came into this world. Things are being controlled by a higher power. We're a part of that power. We're conscious beings. We're full of love and light. We need to recognize that. We can as we go within ourselves. And a vegetarian way of life is like a foundation which is needed for us to experience that. And so the purpose of each and every one of us as we come into the human body is to be able to truly know ourselves and know God. It is said that the human body is the roof and crown of all creation. Like in all creation, this is the highest because it is in the human body that we have the faculty of discriminating between right and wrong. In the East, we call it vivek. Vivek means that we can know for ourselves this is the truth and this is untruth. And once we have the faculty, then if we don't use it, then we are not benefiting from what we have. So I'm very, very happy to be here, and I wish the very, very best for all of you, and I pray that you'll be leading lives which will be very, very fulfilling. Thank you very much.
Throughout the afternoon, there were many cooking demos, which were designed to take the mystery out of vegetarian food preparation. Many of the health benefits of being vegetarian were also presented. The raw food presenters made a delicious angel hair marinara, which everyone loved.
The marinara sauce is very simple. You chop tomatoes, you put it in a processor, then you will add some oregano and basil and a little bit of salt, some dried tomatoes to give it some body and consistency, and turn the processor on and chop it to the degree that you like it. Pasta, you peel the zucchini and use this little device to make these big threads that are like pasta that you put marinara on.
I love it. I'm Italian, and this food was so good. It tastes better than Italian.
My favorite. I love it. It's very good. It has mushrooms, regular in portobello. It has onions, garlic, a special kind of chili, panzote, chili guajillo, a special kind of chili. So it's got to be chili guajillo, not just chili. I love this. Yeah, this is fantastic. And I'm learning how to prepare tofu in the other area, and it's been fantastic. Yeah.
Bob, a world-class magician, provided family entertainment throughout the day. Long lines formed in anticipation for the free buffet supper with 5 gourmet ethnic cuisines. While people casually enjoyed their delicious vegetarian dinner, a world-class musical performance began for everyone's entertainment. Lively Hispanic music was sung by Sones de Mexico.
Thank you so much.
Veggie Fest continued into the evening, and if you wandered over the grounds of the Science of Spirituality, draped with tents beneath the starry sky, you could see the smiling faces of the participants. But what captivated most of all was the radiant countenance of the spiritual master, Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj, who graced the event and whose support and divine love made it all possible. Beneath a large white tent, people gathered from all over the world to hear the renowned spiritual master, Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj, give a public talk at the Science of Spirituality Center in Naperville, Illinois. After the talk, many people received initiation into the inner light and sound.
And so as we all gather here today, I would say that you should all experiment with the vistas within. They're all there, as scriptures tell us that, the saints and mystics have told us that, but till we experiment for ourselves, we would never know for sure. And I pray that God gives you all that you need, that the choicest of blessings of the Lord are with each and every one of you, so that you can not only experience yourselves as soul, but that you can soar into the inner regions and be one with God in this very lifetime. Thank you very much.
Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj, along with Mata Bhajan Kaur Ji and Mata Rita Ji, arrived in Delhi, India early in the morning of September 12, 2005. When the spiritual master arrived at Kirpal Ashram, he was joyously greeted by thousands of seekers. Maharaj Ji addressed the gathering from the dais, remarking that he was looking forward to the birthday celebration of the gracious master Sant Singh Ji Maharaj. He also urged everyone to take part in the various programs of the upcoming 14th Global Conference on Mysticism. To derive maximum benefit out of such programs, he stated, we should not only listen to the spiritual wisdom proclaimed at these events, but adopt it into our daily lives. Let us devote regular time to meditation practices, he urged. Then the spiritual path within us will rapidly unfold. A small welcome party was held with the Westerners.
Happy welcome to you. Happy welcome to you. Happy welcome, dear Master. Happy welcome to you.
The 14th Global Conference on Mysticism was inaugurated in the evening of Tuesday, September 13th, with a spiritual mushara held at Kirpal Bagh in the memory of the great poet saint, Sant Singh Ji Maharaj. Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj opened the mushara, which is an Urdu poetry symposium, by explaining to the audience that each poet would recite their poems matching in rhyme and content to two of Sant Singh Ji Maharaj's verses selected for the occasion. Respected Mata Bhajan Kaur Ji began the mushara by singing a ghazal written by the gracious master. Following this beautiful rendering, Each of the 15 poets read their poems one by one, earning huge applause from the audience. Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj said that spiritual poets are those lucky souls chosen by God to convey in a few well-chosen words great spiritual truths that for others would require many sentences to explain. The poetry of Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj hides several spiritual secrets, he said, which, when unfolded, provides useful insights into the intricacies of the spiritual path. Once the Poetry Symposium concluded, Maharaj Ji released the commemorative book on last year's Nashara and thanked all the poets for their contributions. We are all searching for God, the spiritual master explained, and this search is the real purpose of our lives. However, our quest fails when we seek God in the outside world. The result is that we begin to think that God is far away, and that we may never be able to reach our goal. He then stated that God is searching for us, sitting inside us, and waiting patiently for the moment when we turn our face to the Lord. By inverting our attention, we will make contact with the light and sound of God within, and this in turn will commence our merger with God. After each session, Maharaj Ji would graciously walk through the audience, giving his love glance to all.
सारे जपो दर्शन देख जीवा गुर तेरा.
In the evening of Wednesday, September 14th, a seminar was held on the topic Darshan, Apostle of Love. On this occasion, Mata Habashan Kaur Ji and Mata Rita Ji, accompanied by several Westerners, presented a hymn from the Gurbani, Sikh scriptures, to the many thousand people gathered for the event. Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj then spoke on the auspicious birthday celebration of the gracious Master, Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj. He explained that the gracious Master's life was a symbol of love and compassion, so much so that whoever met the saint believed that he loved him or her the most. Sant Darshan Singh Ji spread love and joy all around him, Maharaj Ji declared, and embraced all humanity in the spirit of true brotherhood and sisterhood. We should inculcate these lessons of divinity and compassion into our own lives, he urged, and since we are children of God, we should learn to love all his children so that we may draw closer to the Lord. Other speakers included Helga Kammerl from Germany, Isabel Wolf from the United States of America, and Ute Starlinger from Austria. They finally remembered the gracious Master and narrated stories of his unbounded love and grace. During the conference, free medical services were made available to the Sangat around the clock. A blood donation camp and free eye inspection camp were also held at Kirpal Bagh. The spiritual master visited these camps in the afternoon, expressing his thanks to the doctors and participants, as well as giving his special blessings to the patients. On Thursday, September 15th, Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj granted the holy boon of initiation to thousands of people, connecting them with the eternal light and sound of God within. On the evening of Friday, September 16th, a cultural program was organized at Kirpal Bagh, in which the children's satsang centers of Ganda and Jalandhar presented ghazals, poems, and qawwalis, mystic poems set to music, to the large audience.
मत वालों को जी भर के पिला दे साथी आज मत वालों को जी भर के पिला दे साथी आज मत वालों को.
Maharaj Ji thanked the children and gave them prasad. In the evening of Saturday, September 17, a seminar was held at Kirpal Bagh on meditation, a way of life. Several speakers from the West affirmed that meditation should be made a way of life because besides helping us at the level of the soul, Meditation helps us at the physical and mental levels by increasing our concentration and reducing stress in our lives. Sant Rajinder Singh Ji spoke on the subject of spirituality.
The outer body is just a vehicle. In reality, we are souls. We are spirits who've been sent into this world to have a human experience. We just think we are human beings who want to have a spiritual experience. But in reality, we are spiritual beings who are in this world to have a human experience. To burn our karmas off, to have an opportunity to know God, to be able to fulfill the very purpose of being here, which is to realize ourselves as soul, as spirit, and to find our oneness with Lord. So that we are out of the cycles of lives and deaths. And this is why we have this human body, and this is why saints and mystics have said we are very, very lucky to receive what has been called the roof and crown of all creation. So God has provided in this human frame all the faculties that are required by us to truly know God, but we need to make use of them. How do we make use of them? By going within. What is happening now? We are focused on the world outside. We think if we achieve things of this world, we would be very happy. But little do we realize that happiness has nothing to do with any achievement of this world. They are temporary. What we need to achieve is the closeness of God. What we need to achieve is the oneness of God. And once we have that oneness of the Lord, every other aspect of our being is going to get better. Sant Kirpal Singh Ji Maharaj would often say, on spiritual health depends the health of the body and the mind. So if our spiritual health is well, if our spirit is healed, if our soul is healed, then our body and our emotions are all going to be well. But if our spirit is not healed, then we'll have difficulties in the physical, in the mental and the emotional arenas. And so the purpose of coming into this human frame is to heal the spirit. And the spirit gets healed when it's nourished. And so what is the nourishment of the spirit? Or what is the nourishment of the soul? It is a connection with what is called the holy word, or the naam, or the shab, or the light and sound of God, or the kalma. That divine power which brought all creation into being. That divine power which is reverberating within each and every one of us. That divine power which is the power of the love of God. And that power can be experienced by each and every one of us as we go within ourselves. And the process of going within is called meditation. And so when we make meditation a way of life, then we will fulfill the very purpose for which we have come into this world.
During the conference, free meals were served to all in attendance. Evening of Monday, September 19th, a special program of mystical koalas was held to celebrate the upcoming birthday of Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj. Maharaj Ji was greeted with thunderous applause. A renowned koala group from Mumbai began rendering one mystical koala after another. The Sufi poetry set to enchanting music won applause and cheers from the audience. During the performance, the spiritual master graced the audience with his divine glances. One woman remarked, "I wish time would stand still and I could forever partake of the spiritual wine pouring from the saint's eyes." The qawwalis continued until midnight, at which time firecrackers were set off, the crowd clapped, danced, and sang "Happy Birthday." Then a large cake was brought onto the stage, at which time Maharaj cut the beautiful cake, accompanied by applause and joyous greetings. Afterwards, Maharaj addressed the congregation and explained the difference between worldly intoxication and spiritual intoxication. The divine vintage of spirituality leaves one in ecstasy permanently as it draws the soul closer and closer to God. Returning to Kirpal ashram, the path was strewn with flowers carpeting the way. The crowd, which was still intoxicated from the spiritual master's love, sang songs of jubilation and praise. Maharaj graciously accepted these loving greetings and distributed his loving glances. In the evening of September 26, 2005, Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj, Mata Bhajan Kaur Ji, and Mata Rita Ji arrived in Nasik, Maharashtra, for a 4-day tour of the region. Often called the Land of the Saints, Maharashtra is the town of two 12th century luminaries, Sant Namdev Ji and Sant Gyaneshwar Ji. Since that time, many of the saints have carried on the region's spiritual heritage. Over 20,000 people greeted the spiritual master with love and enthusiasm. Mata Habhajan Kaurji and Mata Rita Ji opened the program by singing a hymn from Sant Namdev Ji. In his discourse, Maharaj Ji stated that the Lord can only be perceived through the third or single eye during meditation. When we invert our attention to the inner light and sound of God, we receive the blessings of the Lord. Following this talk, Maharaj Ji graciously granted the boon of holy initiation. On the following day, the birth anniversary of Sant Rajinder Singh Ji was celebrated at Kirpal Ashram in Devlali. The program was comprised of songs and dances performed by the Regent's Children's Satsang. On September 27th, Maharaj Ji visited Mahakavi Kalidas Kala Mandir to deliver a talk on science and spirituality. Upon his arrival, the spiritual master was greeted by 3 commissioners from Nasik. In his discourse, Maharaj Ji remarked that in meditation, one experiments within the laboratory of the human body. By connecting with the inner light and sound of God reverberating within, one can find inner peace, as well as contribute to establishing peace in the world. Following this discourse, Maharaj Ji returned to Kirpal Ashram in Devlali, where the 8th annual day of Darshan Academy was being celebrated. On this occasion, the Children's Satsang presented a cultural program on the interfaith theme, Spiritual Awareness in Mankind, in which the universal teachings of Ram, Krishna, Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, and Guru Nanak were highlighted. Prizes were then awarded to the children who had excelled in various disciplines. Afterward, Mata Habhajan Kaurji and Mata Rita Ji sang a composition of Sant Tulsidas.
कोई तो तन मन दुखी कोई चित्त उदास एक एक दुख सबन को सुखी संत का दास सुखी संत का दास सुखी संत का दास सुखी संत का दास सुखी संत का दास.
In his discourse, Maharaj Ji stated that people experience unhappiness due to their mind and their karmas. But when we divert our attention toward God, he said, we experience joy. Following his talk, Maharaj Ji granted initiation into the mysteries of the beyond. On September 28th, Maharaj Ji traveled to Dugaan, district Chanbad in Maharashtra. Mata Habajan Kaurji and Mata Ritaji sang a hymn from Mirabai in their melodious voices. Maharaj Ji then discoursed on the hymn